My name is Schermerhorn. Before I talk about the choices that led us here today, I want to talk about those choices, who those choices affected. Mason was not just a victim of a tragedy. He was a 14-year-old who had a family who loved him, friends who cared about him, and a future that was supposed to continue. He's my little brother. Mason was the type of person who made people feel seen. He had a kindness about him that was rare. He looked for the good in people even when they did not always show it themselves. And he accepted people without judgment and treated everyone like they mattered. This is what makes the loss so difficult to understand. Mason was not someone who was supposed to become a victim. He was supposed to come home that day. He was supposed to continue growing. He was supposed to experience everything that comes after being 14 years old. He was supposed to graduate, build friendships, discover his future, and become the person we all knew he could potentially be. Instead, his life ended because the adults who had the responsibility to recognize danger and prevent harm failed to do so. The hardest part for me is knowing that Mason's death was not something my family could have prevented. We did not have the warning signs. We did not have the opportunities to intervene. We were simply the people left to suffer the consequences. While my family was planning a future with Mason in it, decisions were made that allowed the future to be taken away. The impact of losing Mason has affected every part of my life. Since September 4th, 2024, I've had to learn how to live a life how to live in a world where my little brother is no longer in it. I've had to continue growing up while carrying a loss that has changed me forever. One of the hardest parts is knowing that Mason was supposed to be here for all the moments that come next. I will continue getting older while Mason will remain 14. I'll graduate one day, but he will not. I'll experience future birthdays, holidays, and milestones, knowing there's someone missing. There are moments where I still want to tell Mason something. I see something he would have liked, think of a joke he would have laughed at, or remember a game that we used to play. And for a moment, I forget that I cannot share those things with him anymore. Then I remember that's something I have to live with forever. This loss has also changed the way I see the world. I no longer have the same sense of safety I had before. School no longer feels like the place it once did. Every time I walk into a school building, a thought immediately crosses my mind. If this can happen to Mason, then why can't it happen to me? I find myself paying attention to exits, watching the people around me, and thinking about things I never had to think of before. While trying to grieve my brother, I was also expected to continue being a full-time college student. I missed classes to attend court because being here for Mason matters to me. But for me to not get kicked out of the classes, I have to provide documentation proving that my brother was killed in this tragedy. Having to hand over these documents is just another painful reminder that this wasn't just a nightmare that I'm living in. Every hearing forced me to relive the worst day of my life. I had to hear details no sister should ever have to hear and evidence no family should ever have to see. Those memories don't stay in the courtroom when the hearing ends. They follow me everywhere. Grief isn't just anniversaries and birthdays. It appears in ordinary moments. I'll see a game update and think about how Mason would have loved it. I'll hear a joke and instinctively want to tell him. For a split second, I forget he's gone. Then I remember, and that realization never gets easier. I'm still moving forward, but I'm moving forward without someone who's supposed to be beside me. That is the reality my family's been left with. When I think about Mr. Gray's role in this tragedy, I think about the responsibility that comes with being a parent. Parents are supposed to protect their children. They're supposed to recognize when something is wrong, take concern seriously, and step in when their children's actions create a danger to themselves or others. That responsibility is not fulfilled. This tragedy did not begin on September 4th, 2024. There are warning signs before that day. There are opportunities to make different choices. There were moments where action could have been taken that may have changed the outcome. But what is hardest for me to accept is that the people in that school did not have the opportunity to protect themselves from decisions being made around them. They went to school that morning expecting a normal day, and the fool we lost deserved to come home. But because the warning signs were not taken seriously enough, and because the responsibility to prevent harm was not handled the way it should have been, my family is left. living with a loss that will never go away. But what makes this even harder to accept is that this was not a situation where there were no signs. There were moments where action could have been taken. There were opportunities to step in before people were injured or killed. After his son made threats and showed signs of concerning behavior, the danger was still allowed to remain. The firearms were still accessible. The ammunition, whatever that word is, ammo, was still accessible. The things that could have been secured were not handled with the urgency that they required. Mr. Gray had gun locks, but having a safety measure means nothing if it's not used when it matters most. The guns should have been locked away. Ammo should have been secured. There should not have been a possibility that a 14-year-old child could have access to tools needed to carry out something like this. What's difficult to understand is that there were concerns serious enough to create fear, yet those concerns did not lead to this level of action that was needed. If a parent is afraid of what their child may do, that fear should lead to a reason to protect others. It should be a reason to remove access to anything that could cause harm. It should be a reason to seek immediate help and intervention. Instead, the danger continued to exist until it became a tragedy that my family has to live with forever. I understand that no one can change what happened on September 4th. Nothing said in this courtroom can bring Mason back to my family. But accountability matters because Mason's life mattered. I understand that no one can change. He was not supposed to become the result of a series of missed warnings and failed decisions. He's supposed to continue living his life. He's supposed to grow up, make mistakes, chase his dreams, and become the person he's meant to be. Instead, my family has to live with the consequences of choices we never made. We have to wake up every day knowing that Mason is gone. We have to celebrate milestones knowing there's someone missing. We have to imagine the future he should have had because we'll never get to see it happen. Mr. Gray had opportunities to make different choices. He had opportunities to take action to protect his son, to protect others. My family did not have an opportunity to stop what happened. Mason did not have an opportunity to come home. That is the difference. A decision was made that changed countless lives forever, and people who suffered the most were the ones who had no part in making that decision. Mason deserved better. Christian deserved better. Cristina deserved better. Richard deserved better. Everyone in that school and in this community deserved better. I understand that no sentence can erase the pain that my family has lived through since September 4th. However, I do believe Mr. Gray should be held fully accountable for the role his decisions played in this tragedy. Because of that, I respectfully ask to impose the maximum sentence allowed by law. I ask for the maximum sentence not out of revenge, but because the consequences of these failures were irreversible. 4 innocent people lost their lives. Many others were physically and emotionally wounded, and countless families, including mine, will carry this loss for the rest of our lives. No sentence will ever be equal to what was taken from us. But I do hope the sentence imposed today reflects the seriousness of Mr. Gray's responsibility and the immeasurable value of the lives that will forever change.
Thank you, Alana.